We get so consumed by geography, so consumed by the limitation of our jurisdiction and scope, and we do such a disservice to all of you because we don't reach out and connect dots and broaden the narrative as it relates to our resolve and ultimately achieving results. You cannot have a conversation around homelessness. You can't have a conversation around housing. We cannot have a conversation about transportation. You can't have a conversation about emergency preparedness. You can't have a conversation around the issue of environmental stewardship unless you're having a regional conversation. And so this is as a bottom-up framework, a bottom-up mindset, as a former supervisor, a former mayor, now two-term lieutenant governor and candidate for governor. That's the mindset I want to bring into Sacramento, not top-down, but truly bottom-up.
This is me, Babasyan, and Hannah Johannson from the Castro Valley High School newspaper, The Olympian. We are here on the campaign trail with Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom. Mr. Newsom, thank you for speaking.
Great to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
So, what makes you a valuable candidate for young people?
I think a willingness to step up and step in. I'm not someone who's timid. I try to bring my authentic self. I'm not one of those politicians that says one thing in private and another in public. I was the first person out in the United States that started marrying same-sex couples. Back in 2004, over a decade ago, married 4,036 couples from 46 states on the steps of City Hall. And I say that as a sort of proof point where that I want to be bold, that I'm willing to step up and step in, where I'm not like a lot of other politicians that frankly tend to be timid and play in the margins. So I think for all those reasons, in addition to having 4 young children myself, and having a deep appreciation for the challenges, struggles, and aspirations of young people, I think I'd be the right candidate.
Great. And what parts of your community, of your public service career, are you most proud of?
I think a lot of support of criminal justice reform. I'm vehemently opposed to the war on drugs, which has been a war on poor people and people of color. I'm very proud as the UC Regents, CSU Board of Trustees, to be principal opponent to increasing tuition. I'm a very proud supporter of public education. I've received the endorsements of every education group in the state, from the teachers on down, the administrators. I'm very proud of that because I support our public schools and public teachers and believe very strongly in bringing social services into the public schools, wellness centers to deal with physical health needs, adolescent mental health, arts education, every child, every classroom, K through 12. We have a proposal to create a college savings account for every entering kindergartner in our K through 12 education system, something I did as mayor. So for all those reasons, I'm proud of those efforts, but I'm also proud, perhaps more than anything else, of getting 12,000 people off the streets when I was mayor of San Francisco. Most significant effort to address the most vulnerable members of our community, and that's something that's self-evident to all of us. It's never been worse in this state, and we need a governor that cares about homelessness.
That's great. Your California promise to make 2 years of community college free, how will you make 4 universities more affordable?
That's the challenge, right? So the community colleges, we've already done 1 year free, or we will after this legislative session, meaning the governor has actually put in his proposed budget a funding mechanism to do the first year free. I'll commit to easily doing the second year free, and hopefully this time next year that will be accomplished. The challenge with the 4 years is, in order to make 4-year college free, it's billions and billions of dollars, not few billion. It's significant amount of money to roll back the tuition costs. So for me, it's about holding the line on any subsequent tuition increases and then significantly expanding the investment into offsetting the full cost of education. Tuition is a relatively small percentage of the overall cost of college. It's transportation, it's housing, and it's books. And that's why we have a significant proposal to increase our funding and subsidies and loans and grants through our Cal B program, et cetera, to deal with the broader costs of education. Hold the line, oppose any subsequent tuition increases, significantly increase the investment in our institutions of higher learning, and try to offset the overall costs of attendance.
So, as governor, how would you respond to the Trump administration agenda?
Go on my website, you will see. I have been as aggressive check out my Twitter feed, our Facebook. Go on my website. You'll see all these commercials and cartoons we're doing. We're pushing back hard. Look, I'm not timid. I'm happy to go toe-to-toe with the Trump administration. We've been as aggressive as any elected official in California, pushing back against Trumpism and his assault on our environmental values, assault on our diverse communities, particularly our dreamers, et cetera. So I'll maintain that vigilance, but do go on my GavinNewsom.com website for some fun videos so you can see specifically what I'm talking about.
Okay, so we have one last question. If you win, will you promise our class another interview?
Now, you know what, I want to say yes, and I will say yes, but I remember a good friend of mine works at KGO Radio, and Obama said as a candidate, absolutely, and for 8 years they tried to get him back, and he didn't do it. So I don't want to be that politician, so the answer is yes. You got my word.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, guys. Bye. There's a great Aristotle line that said you can't live a good life in an unjust society. It's a fact. And I say that to all my fancy and wealthy friends. I say that to my business friends. I've got 20, as you guys may know, I have 23 little businesses, close to 1,000 employees. I don't say that to impress you, to impress upon you. Again, my passion for entrepreneurialism. But I tell my business friends all the time, you know, businesses cannot thrive in a world that's failing. So this notion of interdependence, right? There's no leak on your side of our boat. You think about that, right? That we're all in this together and we're all better off and we're all better off. That's foundational. It's not just rhetorical.